Let's talk about textiles, shall we? I'm with Brett from Hybrid Services. Brett, you've got a lot of fabric on this line, but before we go right to the end there, just let's go through the process, if we can, of getting something from design on a PC like this, printed out, and then how it ends up on, as a football kit or a T-shirt or whatever, because it's a bit more of an involved process than some people might think.
It is not too complicated. We'll try and keep it as simple as possible, but the process starts with your design. The customer can send it to us. It can be their design or it can be a pre-done design.
And here's a PC that you've got set up with a few designs on it already.
So we have some random imagery, old photographic type imagery. Advantage of digital, no colour limitations. So we make our layout. The PC here is a template basically for making a design layout. Once you've made your layout and you're happy with that, we send the job to print.
So just the same as I would do Control P.
Like you would do at home on your little desktop printer. You have your screen, you have your image, you press go. It's as simple as that. A little bit more to it, but in essence, as simple as that.
And the same story really with the printer that I'm sending it to. It's not a million miles different from what I've got, just kind of supersized and with a different type of ink.
It's a little bigger. Size-wise in this is our entry-level machine. So for us, this is a baby, but 1.3 meters wide, printing sublimation. So the process is sublimation ink onto sublimation paper. It's a two-step process. You print onto paper first, and then you heat transfer onto your fabric. It's going to be a polyester. Sublimation works well onto polyester, 100% or high polyester content. So the samples that you'll see around here are all, if it's from the displays on the wall, are all fabric displays with 100% polyester. We have some samples of mouse mats and bags and just pieces of different fabrics, but all polyester.
And the key thing here is that you're printing into the fabric rather than printing on top of it.
Correct. Sublimation is a chemical reaction. So the ink is turning from a gas and bonding into the polyester. So ink is in it, dyeing the fabric rather than a surface print, so very durable.
And heat is the catalyst to make that happen. I tell you what, can we see this process in action from printing off?
So we have our layout that we've made. That can be numerous images, it could be one large image. In this instance, we've got numerous different images.
I had toyed with sending him an image of me, but we kind of voted against that just because we wanted it to look nice on camera, so outvoted on that one. Never mind, you got some great images here.
Okay, so we have our layout, we press go. It will take a few seconds, literally, for some of the data to go across to print, but as soon as a percentage of that data gets to the printer, the machine will start to print.
There we go, we have numbers changing and bars moving, so that data is now working its way over to this. You're calling this a small printer here, was it 1.2 meters wide?
1.3 meters wide.
What's a big printer to you then, Brett?
The next level up is the machines on the opposite wall, 1.6, 1.8, but we print up to 3.2 meters.
3.2 meters wide, wow.
So that is our largest machine at the moment, is 3.2 meters.
So we can see the print taking place right now with the sublimation inks there onto this sublimation paper. Now, something that I notice is that the colours look a little bit more subdued here than we might see them in once they have been fixed.
Correct, because it's a chemical reaction. The ink that you see at the moment is a little subdued, but with that chemical reaction with the heat, the colour from this, for example, after it's gone through the heat process, would turn into this sort of colour.
So let's see those right next door to each other for the camera there. And the oranges really do pop out, and also the blacks are far richer as well.
Absolutely, so you get fantastic colours, great colours with sublimation printing.
Okay, right then. So we haven't got time to wait for all this, although it is pretty fast. It certainly seems... In fact, can we just lift up that lid a little bit and just see the head spinning round?
We can, just so you can see from a demo purpose. So print head going backwards and forwards. Building up the images in passes.
Just the same as an inkjet printer at home would be, really.
Desktop printer.
Fantastic. All right then. So we're not going to wait for that. Instead, in children's show style, here's one we made earlier.
Absolutely.
You've got one that's going to show off the bright orange that we saw a moment ago, aren't you?
We have a blank unprinted tote bag, small little heat press, set to just under 200 degrees C. Time is important, so we've set it to about 45 seconds.
Yep.
Place your image on. Important, if you've got text, it's printed in reverse, because when you transfer it, then you want it to be the correct way around. So lay on your sublimation paper, and then literally close the lid. The temperature is set, and the timer starts to count down. Once it gets to 0, it will beep, and that's your signal to lift up and then finish product.
So obviously heat is one thing there, and 200 degrees Celsius or thereabouts. Time is the other factor, but also there's some pressure that you're applying. Is the pressure important?
Pressure is important. Doesn't need to be excessive. It is there literally just holding the media stable. Okay. So it doesn't need to be excessive pressure, but you need some just to literally keep it stable so it doesn't move. Other than that, you don't need excessive pressure.
And I guess depending upon the size of fabric that you are printing onto, you'd need a different type of press to this.
You would. Literally for demo purposes, we've got a small little press. Yeah. But if it was larger products, let me lift the lid.
There's the beep. Let's see what we've got.
So, take the paper away.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We now have a pressed, finished, much brighter image.
Can we have a look at what's left on the paper? Oh, what's left on the paper?
So, you'll always have some colour left, but from where it was, a lot of that colour is transferred off the paper onto the fabric. And that's what you want. You don't want to be wasting ink by leaving a lot of it left on the paper. You want the majority of it to be going onto your product, so you're not wasting ink.
And indeed, like you say, onto the fabric as well as into the fabric.
Correct. So we're now fully fixed. It will not come off.
That's very quick indeed, isn't it? That fixing. Let's take a wander down here, because you've got some examples of some fabrics that you brought with you. So
others we made earlier.
More that we made earlier. This one's really interesting.
So again, all 100% polyester. This one, for example, is an example of a product that you could turn into a cushion, for example. Yeah. So it's a polyester, but a velvet polyester effectively. So the handle of that is like a velvet. This one, again, is a polyester, but meant to look like a linen, so it's got a nice texture to it. But basically, all 100% polyester.
And then finally, this dude here, wearing a football top or something. Obviously, it hasn't been printed like this. It's been kind of printed and then embroidered into the shape.
So the way that the sportswear is mainly done is the machine is identical, nothing has changed, but the way that it's made is different. So the way that the sportswear is being done is you're printing a pattern. You're printing a face, the reverse and the sleeves, and then they are sewn back together again.
Sure. And I notice you've got these fluorescent inks here as well.
Yep, so advantage of Dye-Sub is you've got the option of adding fluorescent inks, and for sportswear, becoming very popular to give that little accent of brighter colours.
Absolutely. And then just before we go, we've got some of the larger format printers that you were talking about down here as well. Lots of different inks that you can pop into them. A fantastic display that you've got here, Brett. Tell me, what kind of interest, what kind of conversations you've been having with visitors so far? A
busy morning, actually, between us and then taking some over to some of our resellers. Then we've had a busy morning so far, so it's nice to get genuine interest in textiles and sublimation printing. So a good start to the show.
Yeah, what have you been making of Sign and Digital UK?
So far, good start. Busy. Always good to be kept on your toes and kept busy. So I hope it continues. If we continue like we started this morning, then we'll have a good show.
Brett, fantastic to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Very welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.